Hello, before we get started, we wanted you to reflect on your score on the CAGE questionnaire. So we asked you 4 simple questions. The first, have you ever felt like you need to cut down on your alcohol consumption? The second, have you ever been annoyed by somebody criticizing your drinking habits? Have you ever felt bad or guilty about your habits? And have you ever woken up and thought that you wanted to drink? Or have you ever had any other eye-opening moments like that? Now, if you scored a 2 or greater, we invite you to participate in our presentation. Our objectives today are to discuss some stressors that firefighters face in their day-to-day duties, some statistics in firefighters and binge drinking, the short and long-term effects of consuming alcohol and alcoholism, some symptoms that may affect your performance on the job, and options for help and coping skills. Throughout this presentation, the slides will periodically stop, and we will ask you to answer a couple questions, or take a reflective pause where we want you to think about your recent or past behaviors and actions. So some stressors for you as a firefighter. Your job is very demanding, and we understand that. You deal with a loss of life. You're exposed to death quite frequently when you have calls to multiple casualty incidents, or specifically calls involving infants and children. We know too that your work schedule is very demanding with 24-hour shifts, which may lead to broken sleep patterns and insomnia. We also know that there is a high physical and emotional demand, which can take a toll on you as a firefighter. So we want you to take a pause and reflect on if there's one thing or a few things that make you want to drink alcohol. So some emotions, some events. In terms of statistics, actually 56% of firefighters binge drink, and that's 2 to 3 times the incidence of alcohol abuse in the general population. So we want to know, why is that, and what can you as a firefighter do to overcome that? We don't want you to be a statistic. 14% of firefighters have hazardous drinking habits, and 9% of firefighters report driving while intoxicated. So just take a moment here to reflect on these statistics. Do you fit in with any of these statistics? Some short and long-term effects of alcohol on the body. Some short-term effects, some vomiting, impaired judgment, altered coordination, and think about how detrimental that can be to you as a firefighter and the people that depend on you to get them out. Some long-term effects, family problems, because remember, this doesn't only affect you, it affects the people around you. Liver damage, cancer, and weight gain. Now, if we look at alcohol serving size, we want you to reflect on the last time you drank alcohol. How many did you have in one sitting? Would you consider yourself a binge drinker? In terms of consumption, moderate drinking for women, low-risk drinking is defined as no more than 3 drinks on any single day and no more than 7 drinks per week. Now for men, it's defined as no more than 4 drinks on a single day and no more than 14 drinks per week. So reflect again. Would you consider yourself a binge drinker? As we move into alcoholism, we want to tell you some signs and symptoms that you can be aware of moving forward. So the inability to limit consumption amount, craving alcohol at all parts of the day, missing major obligations, maybe at your family events, your kids, due to alcohol, development of a tolerance or dependence on the alcohol, like that eye-opening moment we discussed in the CAGE questionnaire, and withdrawal symptoms if not consumed. Now, through your reflections, if you do think that you are a binge drinker and you are concerned, there are options for help. First is counseling. There are confidential one-on-one counseling sessions and also community support like Alcoholics Anonymous. There's also some medications that can help, and very significant amount of helplines, and we want to talk about one for firefighters in general. So the National Fire Service Member Assistance Program, this was developed by the American Addiction Center, and it's actually no cost to you or your family. It's a 24/7 toll-free confidential phone line. Now this is, again, not just for you, but for your family members as well, because we remember that alcoholism can affect your kids, your husband, your wife. So you can discuss alcohol and drug abuse, psychological problems, relationship problems, or work-related concerns. And that number is 1-888-731-FIRE, or 3473. There is some recent evidence to suggest that these counseling sessions, these medications, these helplines do work. And another component of your help that is so important would be support of your family and friends, and of your fire department. The development of healthy habits like exercise and an improved diet, and distancing yourself from social situations with alcohol. So events where alcohol is limited or not present. And we know that firefighting has a social culture behind it. We know that you are very close. It's a brotherhood or a sisterhood. We know that there is a culture and a tradition in firefighting that is great and should be continued. We just want to make sure you're aware of your own habits to move forward in a healthy way. So overcoming stressors, what can you do? Well, first you need to identify your triggers. So we want you to reflect on what are your triggers or barriers? And how do you currently cope with your stress? Is it alcohol? Once you've identified your triggers, you can identify barriers to overcoming those stressors and develop new healthy coping strategies. Some of those strategies can include counseling, utilizing a social support system, sleep or rest when you can, and hobbies that are not related to work. So please reflect on what are some strategies you can begin to utilize that make sense for you to better manage your stress. Some additional coping skills: communication. Many of those who have completed the 12-step associated with Alcohol Anonymous have found more likely to develop healthy coping mechanisms. Breathing exercises like meditation, channeling negativity. There are many inspirational books and charities that were created by those who needed to channel the negativity in their life into something positive. So that'd be something to explore. Positivity, like mindfulness and yoga. Find areas or people that make you feel surrounded by positivity. Physical activity, like fitness classes. So important to stay active. Find something new that you always wanted to do but have never tried. Something that's exciting and you will look forward to each day. And healthy eating habits. Find a support group. We wanted to provide you with some contact information. Alcoholics Anonymous is www.aa.org, and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration is 800-789-2647. We hope this presentation was helpful, and we hope that through reflection, you can identify some of your triggers, barriers, and strategies to overcome them.